Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ezinwa Akuns. The title of this speech is, Let It Be Said of Our Generation. The world today is riddled with so many pains, suffering, and problems, many of which seem to have defied human ingenuity since the inception of humanity. Man has been regularly confronted with a litany of problems from one generation to the other. Problems will continue to confront humanity, but how well they are confronted and perhaps ultimately defeated are some of the challenges that will confront every generation of humanity. Humanity cannot continue to fold our hands in helpless resignation to our ugly fate and expect divinity to magically solve all our problems. There must rise a generation amongst humanity who must heroically stand up to be counted and to do whatever it legally takes to ensure that many of the monstrous problems bedeviling humanity are ferociously and decisively confronted, and that humanity is firmly set on the path of massive infrastructural and human development. There must rise a generation of humanity that passionately works hard to unprecedentedly catalyze the forces of prosperity and developmentally create wonderful legacies for posterity. There must rise a generation of humanity who doggedly mounts on the wings of our collective ingenuity to decimate problematic monsters that have for long terrorized humanity with their vampiric claws. There must rise a generation of humanity that is passionately determined to write its name in indelible gold by doing all that possibly can to advance the frontiers of development amongst humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my greatest pleasure to announce to you that our generation has all the inherent capacities to write its name in gold and to greatly maximize humanity's boundless potentialities. It is also my great pleasure to announce to the world that a generation of Ezinwa Akuns wants very glorious things to be said about her by all posterity to come. And so let it be said of my generation that we audaciously and collectively stood up to the many problems of humanity and tackled them headlong. Let it be said of my generation that we did not just waft through life like an aimless wind, simply eating and defecating, yet achieving nothing significantly outstanding. Let it be said of our generation that we did not just helplessly lie down in foolish resignation to the problematic monstrosities of humanity, but that we courageously stood up to them like lions and doggedly found lasting solutions to them like victorious warriors. Let it be said of our generation that we valiantly stood up and looked poverty intimidatingly in the eyes and came together to use the instrumentality of the collective sagacity of the most intelligent of humanity to devise creative solutions to long-standing behemoth of poverty. Let it be gloriously said by posterity that our generation was the triumphant generation that courageously drove the behemoth of poverty into the vast wilderness of scarcity. Indeed, there comes a vision-driven generation that is not just passionate about decisively solving the many problems of humanity, but is also greatly determined to bequeath to future generations a very beautiful world where human beings can proudly call a beautiful and blissful home. And that generation is ours. So let it be said by all posterity to come that our generation was that greatly intelligent generation that refused to settle for the mentally unstressful prison of illiteracy and ignorance, but rather chose to massively embrace the boundless empowerment of quality education. Let it be said of our generation that we devised very brilliant policies and strategies that finally helped to tame the long-growling lion of criminality, and greatly silence it with the instrumentality of sagacity. Let it be said of our generation that we intelligently came together to collectively silence the gaping mouth of hunger and bountifully provided food to feed the many mouths of men. Let it be said of our generation that we effectively deploy the great wonders of agricultural engineering to catalyze a lavish agrarian revolution across many countries on earth. Ladies and gentlemen, I want it to be said of our generation that we effectively maximize the engineering wizardry of humanity to stimulate countless infrastructural wonders in many countries across humanity. That we used the rapid and sprawling infrastructural marvels of Dubai as a strategic benchmark to catalyze and replicate so many infrastructural exploits in many other cities and countries across the world. Let it be said of our generation that we magically transform so many heart-wrenching human inhabited shanties, unbefitting to even animals, into outstandingly beautiful neighborhoods, gloriously befitting of a most blessed humanity. Let it be said of our generation that we build so many skyscraping edifices across nations, that we created more trade-enhancing platforms between so many nations, connected so many nations through many transportational infrastructural wonders like bullet trains, that we extinguish the disgustingly filthy and humanly unbefitting practice of open defecation, and massively provided numerous free and very affordable housing and healthcare opportunities for billions of people across the world. Let it be said of our generation that we massively embraced the many empowering benefits of education and wisdom, that we massively propagated and inculcated virtues into most of humanity, that we greatly reduced the number of criminals, illiterates, ignoramuses, fools, and mediocrities across so many nations of the world. Let it be said of our generation that we doggedly mounted on the wings of boundless entrepreneurial energy and synergies across many nations of humanity to usher in an era of unprecedented human development, great industrial revolution, groundbreaking science and technological inventions and discoveries, widespread internet penetration, and unprecedented massive access to affordable entrepreneurial financing. People of the world, let it be said of our generation that we greatly fanned the embers of women empowerment. We erected lasting monuments of social welfareism, gave impressive succor and empowerment to the less privileged, expanded the frontiers of national and international sports, quenched the fire of raging immorality, and decapitated the hydra-headed monster of unemployment. People of the world, let it be said of our generation that we have to break down the many walls of our religious, social, racial, tribal, political, and national differences and collapse their divisive rubbles into the glorious foundation of impressive peace and unity across the many nations on earth. Let it be said of our generation that we decimated the many monuments of injustice and massively reblarized easy access to the temples and ministers of justice. Let it be said of our generation that we greatly leverage on the boundless energy and God-given abilities of humanity to considerably maximize most of the human and natural resources that hitherto languished in misuse, waste, and suboptimality before our great transformational awakening. Let it be said of our generation that we vehemently refuse to be perpetually enslaved by the mediocrity and impediments of bad leadership, that we enormously enthroned the pragmatic and policy enablements of good leadership, that we collectively dug a lasting grave for the merchants and merchandise of war, terrorism, and conflicts, that we creatively stemmed the rudderless tide of explosive population growth, that we firmly entrenched the emergence and efficacy of strong, effective institutions across nations, and that we proudly bequeathed to posterity a very beautiful and efficient governmental system with all its fantastic citadels, institutions, and enablement. Let it be said by posterity that the youth of our generation audaciously stepped up to the plate of leadership and productivity and greatly deployed their individual and collective youthful energy to constructively change the fortunes of the world like never before. Let it be said of our generation that we gloriously witnessed the phenomenal earthly reign of the Messiah on earth, and that when the long-awaited and God's anointed Messiah finally emerged and revealed himself, that our generation avoided the destructive calamities of God and rather chose to embrace the person and personality of the Messiah and massively helped him to achieve his God-given assignment on earth, which are largely meant for the glorious happiness and salvation of humanity and for the universal glorification and worship of God. Let it be said by posterity of our generation that we are the most positively phenomenal of all preceding generations, that we collectively held forth the candles of wisdom and illuminated the world with prosperity and sagacity, that we proudly bequeathed a most beautiful and peaceful earth to posterity, that we gloriously worship God in the breathtaking city of the biblically prophesied New Jerusalem of Revelation 21 verse 9 to 27, that we witnessed the unprecedentedly prosperous reign of Christ on earth, and that we witnessed the divinely orchestrated 1,000 years lifespan of man during the Messiah's 1,000 years reign on earth, as prophesied in the Bible in Revelation 20 verse 4 to 6. Ladies and gentlemen, let it be said of our generation that we are the great and glorious generation that monumentally made the world a better place to live in, and that we are the great generation that prophetically helped to build the new Jerusalem, heaven on earth, as captured in the Bible in Revelation 21 verse 9 to 27. Let it be said of our glorious generation that we are that generation that can confidently beat our hands on our chest and proudly say, without any equivocation or any iota of doubt, that we unprecedentedly and gloriously make the heart a much better place to live in, because we came, we saw, and we triumphantly conquered. Thank you. May God bless our generation, and may God bless all of humanity. You can follow me on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Ezinwa Akuns. Thank you, and God bless.